Well, it's Saturday, April the 1st. Tomorrow is Palm Sunday. As Jesus enters into Jerusalem, we enter into Holy Week. Our week in this class is week 12. We're nearing the end of the semester as we, so to speak, near the end of Jesus's earthly life and the culmination of this course. I hope and pray that you are able this week to find meaningful ways to engage both the class and these special, strategically vital days and events of Holy Week. I know I continue each week to look forward to your responses, even though some of you are getting a little light in your responses and some of you not responding at all. I hope you find that your way back in engagement during these final few weeks. I hope you find these readings into the lives and teachings of some significant spiritual thinkers and activists enlightening and not just a little challenging. This week, we turn to the life and witness of Teresa Bowman, a woman whom the editor of our book calls one of the great treasures of the American Catholic Church. I want to push that further and say a great treasure for the Christian church worldwide. Allow me to put a little context to this reading. I think appropriate in the context of Holy Week. The ugly truth is this: the church that Jesus founded more often seems to reflect cultural norms than challenge them. There are all kinds of reasons, I would call them rationalizations and realities, kind of what it means to be a human, that explain why this might be necessary. There is, however, in Scripture a very strong and frankly incontrovertible fact that the followers of God are called to walk to a different drumbeat. I grew up being taught, for example, that we are called to be in the world, but not of it, to walk to a different drumbeat than the drumbeat of the world. And the church that I grew up in spent a vast amount of time and energy teaching us in very specific terms what it meant to be not of the world. We didn't go to dances. We didn't smoke. We didn't drink. Outside of marriage, we practiced celibacy. We didn't attend worldly entertainments like go to the movies or listen to jazz, for goodness sakes. Or frankly, they would prefer us not to listen to any kind of secular music. Well, we weren't supposed to involve ourselves in such behaviors. Instead, we were to keep all the commandments, and in an effort to keep ourselves unsullied by the world, we ostracized people who broke them or questioned them or even just simply wondered why. Little was said in the church that I grew up in about how the church should respond to racism, poverty, abuse, peace, war. Well, there were few teachings that I remember, frankly, about how to live in the world, except for how not to live in the world. In many parts of our world, and the world of the church, the world of the larger church, other practices prescribed by the Bible were allowed. My friends and I grew up going to church, but they were remarkably quite different in that regard. I'm not sure that I knew how to be a Christian, but I did learn to hide. The world and the church I grew up in, therefore, together were confusing, to say the least. Few persons I knew growing up were African American or Hispanic, Latino, or even really of other Christian faiths. My first experience with explicit racism took place in the church. And the church did not, or its leadership, did not speak out or stand against it or condemn it. That congregation and the leaders, who included my father, were silent. Teresa Bowman, as the editor points out, is an African-American Catholic nun. What is significant about her, and I think why she's included in this book, is that she brought her whole self, her whole history, every part of her story with her when she entered her order. She wrote, "What does it mean to be Black and Catholic? It means that I come to my church fully functioning. I bring myself, my Black self, all that I am," she wrote, "all that I have, all that I hope to become. I bring my whole history, my traditions, my experience, my culture, my African-American song and dance and gesture and movement and teaching and preaching and healing and responsibility as a gift to the church." Oh, I wish I'd heard that gospel growing up. As you spend time reading and reflecting on the life and teachings of this amazing woman of God, keep this question, this challenge before you in your heart. Am I bringing my whole self with me as I live out of and into God's call on my life? Looking forward to your thoughtful responses and presentations about the life of this remarkable African-American Catholic nun. Blessings on the journey.